HIC was born first. I say born, obviously I mean came in by meteor. From here on out, I will say born. Just know I mean landed on their meteor. HIC actually doesn't play a large part in the ancestor's story, but she was the first one born. All of the High Bloods, Mindfang, Dark Lear, the Grand High Blood, Dual Scar, and possibly Red Glare, were all born around the same time. And the Dolorosa was also born around this time. Mindfang and Dual Scar were kismesis from early on. Red Glare quickly became the head legislacerator. The Grand High Blood inherited the throne and became a brutal, vicious leader serving under HIC, carrying out her wishes. He killed a lot of people from all sections of the hemospectrum. The Dolorosa didn't do much in her early life. Dark Lear became a skilled technician and also an extremely loyal executor. A little later on, the middling bloods were born, the Signless, the Disciple, possibly Red Glare, and, even though he's technically a low blood, the Sioniac. While all of the other ancestors had Lucy to raise them, the Signless didn't get a Lucis due to his mutant blood color. The Dolorosa found the baby Signless abandoned and decided to raise him herself. Nothing particularly noteworthy happens to any of the High Bloods during this time. When the Signless reached adulthood, he began to have visions. These visions were of a completely different life, Concrete's life, in a completely different world before us. These visions showed him a world where the High Bloods weren't vicious dictators to the Low Bloods, but were instead guardians to them, protecting them and tending to their needs. The Signless began preaching about his visions, leading to the first rebellion. Meanwhile, Mindfang has been busy doing pirate thing. At this point, she is getting a bigger and bigger bounty on her head. However, she isn't captured, in part because she is a High Blood and thus can get away with many of her crimes, and in part because she is really good at escaping, or killing the few people that actually try to chase her. The Dolorosa, formerly the Signless's Gordian, becomes one of his most loyal follower. Only two people are more trusted than her, the Disciple and the Sioniac. The Disciple gets a huge crush on the Signless, and eventually she convinces him to be her mate sprite. It is heavily implied that the Sioniac was the Signless's closest friend and most trusted follower. As the rebellion gains more and more followers, it starts to become impossible for the High Bloods to ignore it. The Grand High Blood enlists Dark Lear execute anyone associated with the rebellion. However, before this happens, the Sioniac is captured, and HIC forces him to use his psychic powers to allow her spaceship to fly faster than light. To prevent the Sioniac from dying from exhaustion, HIC uses her powers to extend his life. Dark Lear's first target is the Signless himself. He is tortured and in the process become the sufferer. He is then executed. But this only strengthens the rebellion. The sufferer has now become a martyr. The Dolorosa is captured a little later and sold into slavery. She becomes one of Dual Scar's slaves. The Disciple is Dark Lear's next target. However, at the last second, he decides to spare her life. The Disciple spends the rest of her life in seclusion to avoid being killed by the High Bloods. For sparing the Disciple, Dark Lear is exiled by the Grand High Blood, and he too spends the rest of his life in seclusion. In this time, Mindfang's bounty has been getting really big, and she is one of the most wanted criminals for her acts of piracy. Her Black Rom relationship with Dual Scar has still been going on, but she's been growing tired of the relationship. She begins to feel like she is the only one actually contributing to the relationship. In an attempt to try to get Dual Scar to reignite the relationship, Mindfang steals all of Dual Scar's slaves, including the Dolorosa. Dual Scar chases Mindfang to get them back, and Mindfang forces Dual Scar to watch as she forces the Dolorosa to sexually please her. This angers Dual Scar beyond Black Rom, and at this point he actually wants her dead. He kills the Dolorosa. Then he confronts the Grand High Blood and tells him that he knows where Mindfang is. However, the Grand High Blood kills Dual Scar for not being able to tell a good joke. With his new information about Mindfang's location, the Grand High Blood enlists his best legislacerator, Red Glare, to hunt Mindfang down. Mindfang underestimates Red Glare's ability, and as a result, she stares into Red Glare's Lucis's eyes and blinds herself in one eye. Red Glare then cuts off one of Mindfang's arms and captures her. Mindfang is brought to court with Red Glare, but Red Glare overlooked Mindfang's mind control abilities. Mindfang mind controls all the low bloods in the room and forced them to hang Red Glare. Mindfang then leaves to visit Dark Lear, who she refers to as the expatriate. She visits him because he has the cue ball, and she uses the cue ball to find out how she will die. She discovers she will die to the summoner. A couple hundred sweeps later, the summoner is born. He and Mindfang pretty quickly begin a red rom, becoming faithful mate sprites. The summoner finds out about the Signless's rebellion hundreds of sweeps ago and begins to preach the Signless's teachings. This begins the second rebellion, for a reason that is currently unknown. The summoner was forced to kill Mindfang pretty early on into the rebellion, being led by the summoner. The second rebellion is incredibly successful and comes really close to being a full revolution before it is finally crushed by HIC. HIC responds to this rebellion by banishing all adults from Alternia. Once a troll reaches adulthood, they are forced to leave the planet to spread people out and prevent any more rebellions. Then the events of Hivebent happen. The trolls we know from Act 5, Act 1 are born, and Feferi becomes extremely close to her Lucis. Because HIC and Feferi share a Lucis, the Lucis is more loyal to only one at a time. And due to HIC's being across the galaxy, her bond with her Lucis is growing incredibly thin. The Lucis grows uneasy and creates the vast glub, which kills the Bionic and Solix at the same time. Without the Psionic, HIC can't make her ship go faster than light, and is thus forced to go at the speed of light on her journey back to Alternia. This journey takes 612 sweeps total. In that time, the handmaid is born and raised by Doc Scratch, using Lord English's powers. The handmaid time travels, fulfilling Lord English's wishes. After this, she goes back to a little after her birth to confront HIC. HIC kills her and takes her job. She then goes to Earth and becomes Betty Crocker.